Hey, Professor Hibbler, for student Robert Mooneyham. Here's where I'm at right now. I've been trying all day to figure out the schematics of this. In every room in the house, there's this light. If I try to put you down here, it covers up my face. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to give the speech like this. I'll extend my arm out so you can see everything, and I'll try to operate arms differently for hand movement's sake. But we're just going to try to make this work as best I can. That's just the situation that we're in right now. It's unfortunate. Wish we could be doing this in the classroom with people and feeding off of each other's energy, but it's not possible right now. So we're going to do this informative speech nonetheless. The topic is kind of isolating the COVID-19, which is a big sort of global topic, into a smaller portion of the country. Talk a little bit, not really smaller, of course, we're talking about New York City, but we're going to talk about the COVID-19's impact on the New York City Theater District on Broadway. So let's dive into this topic a little bit. I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine that in New York City, there is a multi-billion-dollar business that has been in operation for over 32 years. But now, suddenly, it's no longer taking in revenue and is no longer giving money to its employees, and it's no longer serving its customers. Friends, even the devastating impacts of 9/11 could not stop this business from shutting down for more than 2 days. What business do you think I'm talking about? It might surprise you. The business that I'm talking about is the Phantom of the Opera, the Broadway musical. Opened in 1989, it's been running there at the Majestic Theater for now over 32 years, but for the first time in so many years, the lights are dark. The lights are out. Why is that? The COVID-19 pandemic. It has totally shifted the way in which we organize and operate our lives. So much has changed in such a little amount of time. And every single industry, whether it be sports, whether it be commerce, restaurants, government, has had to adapt to the situation. And Broadway is no exception. So let's dive into this topic a little bit of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on the New York theater industry. We have to view this as a three-headed monster, in my opinion, if we're going to properly understand this problem. Here's the three-headed monster right here. The COVID-19 pandemic impacts the New York theater district both economically, humanly, and socially. So first, let's step into the economics of the situation. So the theater district in New York City, of course, huge source of revenue for the city. Tons of tourists come in every single year. It is estimated that there are about 96,000 jobs that are provided from the industry. So not just entertainers, but restaurant workers, people who are taking tickets, ushers, people working bars, all sorts of things. And it's about a $15 billion industry in terms of its economic giving to the city. So it pumps about $15 billion into the city every single year. And that's information from David London of NPR. So it's a primary source of revenue for New York City. Now, the industry, of course, has suffered because the industry relies on tourism primarily, especially in the summer months. So this is a really big deal because they're looking at a closure that's going to go well into the summer, according to Governor Andrew Cuomo. And because of that, because the closure's going into the summer, they're looking at a $3 to $5 billion loss for the city just from the theater district alone, just from the 41 theaters that encompass Broadway. 3 productions have already shut down, 2 plays and 1 musical, due to this terrible pandemic because they just could not keep up with their operating cost due to financial instability. So, of course, David London reports $15 billion, 96,000 jobs every single year. The industry is in shatters at this point. $33 million were lost in the first week alone just on ticket sales. Just ticket sales, $33 million lost. And those losses keep piling in. From a human perspective, it's had a big impact on the humans who make up the industry. Of course, the workers, the people who are working in the industry, or jobs are directly related to the industry. Tons of people out of work due to that. Within the first week of the pandemic, the 4 New York theater employees, one usher at a theater, 2 actors, actor Aaron Tveit and Brian Stokes Mitchell, and of course the great playwright Terrence McNally. Of course, that was the last slide for the economics, and then there's this one. Terrence McNally, great playwright, known for, I believe, Kiss of the Spider Woman Ragtime Masterclass unfortunately passed away due to the virus it was March 24th of 2019. So socially, and in a human way, it's had a big impact on the community of the people who work within the New York Theater District. The Actors Equity, which is the union that encompasses New York City-based actors and actresses, tries to protect them in times of unemployment or financial insecurity. The union had to push back its membership dues. Of course, they depend on the membership dues to supplement those who are not currently employed. But now that everyone's unemployed, membership dues have been pushed back, and there's really no money going in. So they've actually asked for donations to the equity to help take care of people in these financially uncertain times. Actors Equity did praise Congress's bill that added $600 to unemployment benefits for the next 4 months, but they're asking for more at this point. David Robb of Deadline reports that they're now urging Congress to provide also health insurance because of the fact that being an actor and actress is such a revolving door of a job. So you're working for a few months, then a show closes, and you're not working, or maybe you're working for a long period of time, or you're not working for a long period of time. Whatever that might be, because there's so much in and out with the job, a lot of people don't have solid health insurance. And that's not a good place to be if you're in a global health crisis. So right now they're asking people for health insurance as well. And then finally, we need to think about socially and culturally. This is a good example that I put in here, I think. See that? Kyle Field, all right? Aggie football, 108,000 screaming fans. What Texas A&M football is to Brazos County, is to College Station, is the same thing, in my opinion, that Broadway is to New York City. It's a part of the cultural fabric. That's where everybody goes to meet up. That's where you sort of see everyone, and that's where everyone tries to sort of consume from the culture the same way that people like to consume Aggie football. So the social fabric of the city has been really decimated due to the global pandemic, due to this crisis. And no one is quite sure when the theaters are going to reopen. This was Greg Evans from Deadline. He actually had a meeting, a conversation with the president of the Broadway League, person who's in charge of talking to all the theaters and talking to the authorities. And for right now, we know this concerning the New York Theater District. Andrew Cuomo, the original about March 12th when this whole thing hit, he said, well, we're not going to have performances till April 15th. That's now been moved to June 7th, and even Andrew Cuomo said that's not a rule of thumb. We have no clue when things are going to reopen. And right now, according to the article that I read in Deadline with this lady talking from the Broadway League to the interviewer, she said the real question at this point is the ethics of the thing. And if we do open, how do we open? She says if we're looking at a complete and total opening in terms of everyone's in the theater sitting together and actors are on the stage, not distancing themselves, not having to take extra measures in terms of sanitation and in terms of cleaning the theater, she said the ethical thing to do there would be to not open until a vaccine comes, but that's 1 to 2 years, and we might not be able to afford that without our industry being devastated. So right now they're talking about possibly doing a distance seating when it reopens, requiring audiences to wear masks, doing advanced cleaning of the facilities. It's a really kind of interesting time because, and it's the same way for everyone, it's once things get reopened, once we try to get things even slightly back to normal again, how do we do that, and what's the cost if we don't do it right? Theater industry, grocery stores, restaurants, sports, every single industry, I hope right now is focused, of course, on one thing, and I believe it is, keep making sure that people do not become ill once we decide to, of course, reopen the country. But right now, of course, with everyone, that is a big ethical dilemma. So, of course, estimates are scattered between maybe opening back up this September to opening up once a vaccine comes, and that could be 1 to 2 years. Theater Wing has already postponed the Tony Awards. And right now, everyone's just kind of in a mode of uncertainty from all the articles that I read, from all the content I consumed. It's the way a lot of us are right now, I'm sure. You know, they say the neon lights are bright on Broadway, but if this pandemic keeps going in the direction that it's been going, especially in New York City, it might actually become too expensive to keep those neon lights up, to keep even just the memory that this was a place, that people were here. It might be too expensive to do that. In fact, in every Broadway theater, at the end of the evening, after the performance is over, they put a light in the middle of the stage, and the light is supposed to symbolize that. The light will be here when we're off the stage, and the light will welcome us back when we're on the stage. Well, it might be a while before the light welcomes everyone back to the stage and to the theaters and to the arenas and to the bars and to the restaurants, as it is for all around the country. Thank you so much for listening to the speech, and this is your student, Robert Mooneyham. Bye.